Hey, everybody, it's Pete Carmasino here with Chaikin Analytics. I'm the chief market strategist here at our firm. And every week we do a show called Halftime here on StockCharts TV. And why is it called Halftime? It's the middle of the day. Dead center, 1:15 is middle of the trading day. And each week we like to go over what's happening out there in the markets, what's going on sort of in certain sectors of the market. And we're going to talk about a few sectors today, but we're also going to recap a few names we talked about last week that have just went gangbusters. One of them is Dick's Sporting Goods. We got another name in that specialty retail area that I think you're going to take a look at. It's actually moving already today, but there's probably a lot more upside left. So let's take a look at what's going on here in the markets before we jump to the charts. And really, the question is, what isn't going on in this market? We've got an amazing day here. I mean, Dow's up across the board. Equities are just mostly higher in midday trading. You've got tech, consumer discretionary, communication services, which we've talked about, outperforming. You've got Fang, the Facebooks, the Netflixes, the Microsofts, the Googles, Alphabet, Amazon, Apple. As I said, the complex is broadly higher. Healthcare is beating the tape as well. The only lagging one I see right now is energy. And also financials are actually really the worst performer on the day. You're seeing treasuries mostly firmer with 10-year yields back below 1.3%. So with that backdrop, we've got a lot going on. We had Jerome Powell's meeting that came and went. Thankfully, it was a non-event. He stayed dovish. He was a friend to the markets, as most expected, but you just never know. Everybody was looking at certain tones of voice and different nuances in his presentation and wanted to make sure they weren't missing anything. So let's get right to the charts right now and check out what we got going on the power gauge on StockCharts ACP's platform. Okay, we are back here at the ACP platform on StockCharts. And we're here because that's where our plugin is, but also because it's just a slick and awesome setup here. And I love the way the flow of the charts move in and out quickly and all the indicators that you can watch on here. So one of the indexes that we talk about a lot on our notes week to week is the New York Fang Plus Index. And that's really there's the Fang names, obviously, but there's plus, right? There's Twitter, Alibaba's in it, Baidu is in it. There's a lot of other names inside here, about 10 total. And it kind of gives you a broad perspective of what's going on out there in the markets. And obviously, that's hitting up against the resistance line that we drew here. And so, again, on a broader scale, it's a weekly chart, by the way. On a broader scale, things are looking great. And I think that's going to continue, obviously, with the backdrop of fiscal and monetary policy and where people are kind of looking for growth. I mean, this is what is driving what's happening out there today. So let's go to a stock that we talked about last week. We talked about Pfizer, but we were also talking about specialty retail. And if you look at the comments in the video last week, a lot of folks were asking about that. And we were calling out Dick's Sporting Goods. Now, that's a weekly chart. Let's go to a daily here. And as I was saying, this was the back to school, back to sports, that whole play. I mean, this thing has just skyrocketed. Our show was right here on the 23rd, right around the 109, 112, 110 area, depending upon what day, what time of the day those numbers were trading. But I mean, the stock's already up at $142 per share, and it doesn't look like it's stopping anytime soon. So what's it up today? It's up another almost 3%, up $3.68 to 142. Obviously, that's a high, 52-week high. It could even be a 52-week or an all-time high. I think it is. Yep. I mean, if you go back on Dick's Sporting Goods, I don't think it's ever been up at these levels. So it's pretty amazing. You have a strong consumer, a lot going on there. So that leads me to specialty retail. Another name, again, Sporting Goods name. It is a smaller company, but this is experiencing something that looks really interesting to me. And of course, it is neutral plus. But think about this for a second. Neutral plus, all right? It's a bullish name. Look at the financials. It's pinned to very bullish. Everything else is bullish in here. And that actually means today, if it closes here or higher, it will be above our long-term trend. And we will turn to bullish. And I'll show you what I mean if I go to Big Five Sporting Goods here. So you can see where it is, the chart's building here. It's up $3 and change today. But if we get a close above this long-term trend line of about $26, we'll call it $25.78 or higher, right? If we can get above there, right, on a closing basis, we're going to turn to bullish. Now, relative strength has been weak, but it's really not been terrible, and it looks like it's firming up. But I do like the sector. Apparently, some other people do as well. You got earnings out in a few months. They've already beat estimates here, but it looks like people are starting to notice this small cap name that has $1 billion in revenue and only has a $500 million market cap. All right, bit of a value play, but also it's got some momentum behind it just in the group in and of itself. So let's go look at some other names here that I like as well. Now look, given the backdrop of what's going on, low interest rates, fiscal and monetary policy staying intact, construction materials, things of that nature, a company called BlueLinx Holdings, right? We are very bullish on the name. Experts are behind. Let's take a look. Right, it's actually, I found it on my screener, but I've been looking in this particular group as well. And if I look, it's off a little bit today after it's kind of moved, bounced around the long-term trend. I do have a relative strength change. I am oversold pretty nicely, but look at this, right? We're very bullish on everything. Let's look at experts. I'll dive into this. Now, it's got a high short interest. That maybe that's part of the catalyst. Maybe there'll be a short covering. I don't know, but I'm just calling it out as I see it. You've got analyst rating trend is neutral, estimate trend is neutral, and the relative strength in the industry is very strong. So you've got multiple catalysts in here that can help you kind of look and shape your idea behind, okay, what is going to be the new theme? It looks like hard materials, right? I mean, people are going to be building for quite some time. And so that leads me to another name in this particular group, which is Crane. This is a machinery company. Guess what they do? I'm sure you guys know. But let's take a look at this particular chart. Very bullish, very, I mean, look at the fundamentals, the financials, earnings, technicals, and experts are all in great shape. And you're seeing on a technical basis, some activity like the MACD making a nice crossover, staying above the zero line, the RSI working in tandem. That's your technical side. Now you've got your fundamental side. And that's also working, right? So now you're putting, again, those two things together, marrying fundamentals and technicals, again, a weight of the evidence approach. Let's go look at our chart real quick. We'll go to CR, dive in a little bit underneath, look under the hood slightly, right? We also have a relative strength breakout. We're oversold. We got a relative strength change. This was another name here. And again, in the machinery business, right? Obviously, it manufactures and sells industrial products in the United States, Canada, UK, continental Europe, and internationally around the world, right? They've got a great story. It's a really interesting name. It's well followed. About 5 analysts follow from Barclays, Bank of America, Buckingham Research, Citigroup. There's several analysts following the name. And so we might see some upgrades. Let's take a look at what experts are saying already. You've got the analyst rating trend isn't there, so we could see a catalyst. There's no short interest, but there's a catalyst on the rating trend as well. Let's take a look at the next one. This is in your interactive media, consumer goods, obviously car related. CarGurus, pretty cool app. If you don't have it, download it. It looks pretty cool. It's kind of fun. And again, experts might be ahead of this and really expecting some big things from CarGurus. And if I go and take a look, again, the technicals are all lining up. Look at the MACD on the cross. The RSI is nice, but I got a very bullish rating as well. And if I take a look at CarGurus right here, and I've been watching this name back and forth, it kind of faked me out a little bit here where it took off, pulled back. I kind of like that. And now we've got a long-term trend that is starting to slope higher. The industry's a little weak. We'll point that out. But I think this particular one is being sort of painted with a broad brush stroke in the interactive media area. But the focus on the car and used car area has obviously been a highlight in that particular sector. And I think CarGurus has some upside here as well. So let's look at 2 other names, and then we'll close it out for the day. This one's going to be a semiconductor, and the other one's going to be a REIT. Now, this REIT is kind of interesting, but let's look at on Semiconductor first. I got to say, another good-looking name here that's starting to change trend. On the MACD, obviously it's moved higher, it pulled back. Technically looking okay, If we can stay above this level, this looks like support around that $43, $44 range, right around that 50-day, I'm sorry, the 20-day moving average, and the 50-day is down here around $39 or $40. We can stay above that range and move higher. It looks good. Now, fundamentally, it looks excellent, right? We are very bullish on the name. Financials, earnings, technicals, and experts are all bullish or better. And, from the looks of what's happening here on Semiconductor, I would think not only is the sector strong, but now you've got a strong name in a strong sector, in a strong industry. You want to dive deep and go down different levels and take a look at these things. And if I look at our chart, you're going to see a very similar setup as well. And if I go to on Semiconductor and take a look, kind of flat on the day, which is okay. It's nice. We're not chasing price too much here, but it is up again in a strong industry with a strong trend. Let's look at what experts have to say. Analysts like it. Estimate trends are there, and short interest could be getting less and less. I don't know if that's a catalyst. We can make the assumption that it is, but it's just a guess, right? We want to look at the fundamentals, the trend, the theme, and if that happens to play out from a short interest, short covering squeeze or whatever you want to call it, that's fantastic. But we're putting the evidence in our favor right ahead. I'm going to end it on UNIT. UNIT is a REIT that pays a decent dividend. We are bullish on the name. And believe it or not, they focus on, it's a real estate investment trust. As I said, it's a REIT. And they're focused on the acquisition and construction of mission critical communication infrastructure, right? It's a leading provider of wireless infrastructure solutions in the communications industry. Strong spot to be. Again, a great setup with what looks like about a 4% dividend or better. So we like the name here. The technicals, the market likes the name, obviously, and so does our power gauge. So those are the stocks that I think you should be focusing on this week, based on fundamentals and technicals, right? Both of those, marrying the two together, keeping them on your side, the weight of the evidence in your favor. And so again, we looked at specialty retail, interactive media, CarGurus in that particular sector, REITs in the communication sector, machinery, semiconductors on Semiconductor, and construction materials with BlueLinx. So take a look at those names, follow them, track them, and use your risk management setups as well. Make sure you're not taking too much risk, and protect yourself on the downside as well. Thanks again for tuning into Halftime. We'll see you guys same time next week. Take care, everybody. Bye.
Hey guys, Dave Keller here with StockCharts.com. Thanks so much for watching our video. If you enjoyed it, and we hope you did, hit the like button right below. Also, we have so much new content every day. Consider subscribing to the channel. Just hit the subscribe button in the video or right below. Thanks for watching. Stay safe. Have a fantastic day.